Today we got another character class guide and review for Legend of the Five Rings RPG. Today we are heading off to the Shadowlands book. I couldn't remember the word book. All I do is review books. I couldn't remember the word book. We're off to a good start. So, the minor clan, then in this book, Falcon Clan. They have quite a bit of lore, which is really not nearly as much as Quartz of Stone Deer Clan, but quite a bit of lore, more than the other minor clans, more than most great clans. Unless a great clan has its own book out, you got more lore for your minor clan Falcon character than any of the others. So, the Falcon Clan, more specifically the Toritaka family, who run the Toritaka Phantom Hunter School, a Shigenja school, magic user with a little bit of combat, is that they have a unique ability that allows them to perceive what others can't. Mostly ghosts and phantoms from a lore perspective. They live near the Shinomen haunted forest, and so they've developed this ability just to get by. They also will work with Crab Clan, who they live kind of nearby, and the Shadowlands creatures are what they focus on, and they focus on ghosts, and there's definitely some overlap, some helping there where the jurisdictions cross. In fact, the Kuni Witch Hunters, which are sort of like an elite group of demon hunter or evil hunter, witch hunter, I think they cover a wide berth of things they track. I don't remember. It's a title, it's not a school, so it's like an upper level kind of thing. The Kuni Witch Hunters, which is a Crab Clan family run group, they kind of butt heads with the Toritaka Phantom Hunters, because the idea is that they use their ability to see ghosts and track ghosts and find them and other worldly beings more easily, but they don't necessarily just shoot them or stab them. Like, they might try and talk to them and maybe help them cross over to the other side, like a ghost whisperer kind of thing. Like, they have some flexibility there, or they might do the equivalent of making a deal with the lower level mafia enforcer so that they can get the big boss kind of a thing with the spirits. The Kuni Witch Hunters, they're not a fan of that. They're kill them all, they say. That's their thing. So there's some butting heads there, which is kind of fun. A Kuni magic user, like a warden, or mostly a purifier, Kuni purifier from the Crab Clan, and one of these on your team. There could be some fun butting heads, I guess. Now, mechanically, it works a little differently. So they have the school ability, which focuses on being able to see, perceive otherworldly beings. Not just ghosts, but otherworldly beings, which includes ghosts, but also like Oni, or reanimated skeletons, or anything kind of supernatural who has a bent to it. Even the elemental kami manifestations, where a kami spirit will just mold an element into an avatar, like a big earth golem kind of a thing. Even those, they're otherworldly beings, so their school ability, which helps with initiative and tracking and other stuff like that, finding them, that will help with a wide variety. More so than, say, Tainted, who the Kuni Purifier have an awesome favored foe style ability. Checks against Tainted, but Tainted aren't as common, and also you might be using this more often. Not just because the enemy is more common, but just because of the wide variety of things that it affects, and there's no limit to how many times you can do it, really. And one thing I really like about this school is that they have a wide variety of starting abilities, techniques, invocations, rituals, and shuji, which really help bring to life this idea of someone who's observant, spiritual investigator. Like, we have an air invocation that deals with perception of non-magical things. We've also got a couple rituals, 3 rituals, which help emphasize their connection, extra connection to the spiritual world, and it's not just a hostile, offensive kind of relationship. They don't have threshold barrier, though. They do get it as part of their curriculum fairly early, but they don't have threshold barrier, and that just seemed weird to me, because you bless a doorway, and an enemy of a certain type, depending on what ring you use, cannot, or has a hard time passing through it. And one of those types is otherworldly beings that don't have a physical form. It makes sense to me that they would naturally get that, but they don't, so that was kind of annoying. But another one, commune with the spirits, obviously they get. Especially if they don't get the other one, obviously they would have to get commune with the spirits. That's the whole thing, is that they can see, perceive spirits better than other people. If they didn't get that right away, I would just be flipping this table right now. But we also got some other stuff that are spiritual in nature. There's a lot of utility here. Helps bring to life that whole spiritual investigator kind of a character. Takes her time, gathers information, calm, has a good ability with strife management, which is nice. And it's not often that a school just really feels like how they should feel right away in a wide variety of ways. Typically their school ability kind of does it. Their school ability makes them good at spells. They have some spells. That much, sure, but rarely do you have this kind of unique way that you stand out. You just feel different from the other classes. Kind of drips character. This early is not something I see too often. I kind of want to compare it to the Star Wars Hotshot talent tree from the Ace career. It just sort of oozes character. Very different type of character. Far less flashy and all that. But it really just feels like a certain kind of character. I really like that. Now, in terms of builds, how do we build our person? Well, because it's a minor clan, some of the choices are easy. We only have one family to pick from, or you get the one family and then 2 different rings to pick from. But we end up without a definite 3, which gives us a bit more flexibility. We're going to have 2 air, 2 water, 2 void. Now we could get a 3 in water if we really want to. The thing is, it takes a while for any water techniques to be part of our curriculum, but the invocations and shuji appear eventually. So it might be better to hold off on a 3 in water, maybe get a 2 in water, and then get 3 afterward. Once those other stuff starts becoming part of our curriculum, we can focus on that. You still might want to focus on it earlier, though. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do. Even if you only have a 2 in water, you could buy a low-level technique or 2. Water has some good scrying stuff. You can use the water, look into the water, and find information, which fits the whole investigative kind of aspect to anyone who has a favored foe ability. It makes sense they're going to try to find that foe. So gathering new information in a multitude of ways is really great. Also, healing. Never hurts to have healing, and there's a low-level healing spell that's water-related, so you could get that right out of the gate, and even with just 2 in it, you'll be fine, but maybe a 3 might be preferred. It's up to you. I think it's better to hold off on the 3. Water. Really, air is what calls your attention. Early on, especially because we get an air-based technique, and also we get some air invocations early on. There's a bit of emphasis on water early on, but not much. And the rituals, we can't forget the rituals. It's a big sort of contemplative outside of combat, investigative, slowly gather information and prepare and recover and that sort of thing aspect to the character. The 3 rituals we get, plus the 1 we can get as part of our rank 1 curriculum, that puts a lot of emphasis on void. Really, I think it's simplest and going to be most efficient to focus on void and air early on, and then move on to water or earth. I kind of put water and earth into a same category, where you could focus on both to a certain extent, or just completely drop it as much as possible. It's much easier to drop earth. The reason I really like earth and would want at least a 2 in it, maybe even a 3, you can make that'd be a weird build. It's because there is a tier 1 earth invocation that focuses entirely on damaging otherworldly beings. It's sort of a smite kind of a thing. So that can be really nice to have. When you find them, you have a nice range damage spell to take them out. I think it's ranged, right? Probably ranged. 3 earth, 2 air, 2 water, 2 void, 1 fire. Yeah, you don't need fire. Though I would only do that weird 3 earth build if there's a big emphasis on tainted or otherworldly enemies, because there's a decent amount of earth stuff, low-level earth stuff, that focuses on those types of enemies in terms of invocations. You don't get them as part of your curriculum. It's one of those weird builds where it's almost not worth it, but it could be fun and it kind of fits thematically. And there is an invocation that's new to this book that sort of cleanses an area of land. It's earth-based and you get it earlier than you normally would, which is nice. And if you want to get that and a couple of other dealing with evil and tainted people, especially if your character has worked a lot with Crab Clan specifically, maybe they come from one or the other, the sort of the foreign exchange student program thing going on, or is it just a lot of work amongst the clans, which there is, but you're a part of it regularly, it kind of makes sense to focus on those which help you with tainted as well as otherworldly stuff. The simplest, probably best all-around build would be a 3 air, 2 void, 2 earth, and a 2 in water, with the idea being that you get that 3 in water later on, or you just don't do that if you don't want to focus on water. Like I said, you can drop water for the most part, or you can get a 3 in water. You can do a 3-3 as long as one of those is water. Water and air with 2 void. Lots of different combinations that work well. It's all a matter of your preference and what you want to do. The thing about focusing on water eventually is that the water shuji deals with gift giving a lot of the lower level stuff deals with the gift giving. One combination I like of Water Shuji is, one, you know what they desire, what gift they would desire, and two, you can just be like, oh, I had it the whole time. I got it at the last village we were at, or whatever. I got this thing you like, here you go. And that may seem like, oh, it's a quartz only kind of thing, and some of those types of techniques feel that way, but not necessarily all, or most even. You could come across a Spirit Akami manifestation and you just give it a really nice gift and kind of make this offering, please don't kill us, that sort of thing. Or even if there's like a samurai who's tainted and he's kind of lost but not completely lost, maybe you can kind of get through to him with giving a gift, especially if he's a courtier and he has to go through the rigmarole of the, don't you like refuse a gift 3 times? Like he has to adhere to these ingrained laws of, or rules of the court, and that sort of is your way to connecting to his or her humanity, and then you can get through to them to do whatever it is you need to do, whatever the situation is. And of course, that's also good for just general talking. You may be the talker of the group on the side. Now, the other aspect of this character is combat, martial combat, but very limited, very specific. You are Shigenja, you do not get access to kata normally, you do get special access through most of your school ranks. Not all, but most, and it takes a while. There's an emphasis on air. So if you do take that air technique kata eventually, like, you'll probably want a 3 in air. You got a lot of air invocations, and air deals with illusion invocations and sight invocations. It fits the character really well. Screw with other people's perception, enhance your own perception, and also fight better, be more evasive. It'd be a pretty solid, fun character to play, I think. You don't have to pick that, of course, but you have plenty of opportunity to increase your martial arts skill, especially melee. Probably want to get that free rank just in case, attack with your highest stat, and you'll be okay in combat, you'll be fine. Oh, and the rank 6 ability. You can perceive ghosts better, but you just do it. There's less micro steps involved. You just see things. You just see things. And also, you are better with combat. Finally, you got a favorite foe kind of thing with your character. You're finally just straight up better at directly attacking otherworldly beings. So finally, at the high rank, you go toe-to-toe with that Oni or whatever else. Or not. You still probably shouldn't do that. Alright, that is it for today.